You're welcome, sir.
Ill-advised and embarrassing. That's how, at least, private legal practitioner Kuku Pencil is describing the Ghana Police Service's decision to reverse the interdiction of 3 police officers at the center of this alleged plot to oust the Inspector General of Police 24 hours after the service ordered their interdiction. We'll hear from him shortly. First, on your screens now is a copy of this statement signed by the Director of Public Affairs for the Ghana Police Service, and details are pointing to, why the Ghana Police Service is, reversing the suspension or interdiction, I should say, of these 3 individuals, some of whom have already appeared before Parliament's ad hoc committee. But first, though, the legal practitioner, Kuku Pencil, who's emphatic, the decision to reverse this interdiction is ill-advised.
This was a parliamentary inquiry. This got nothing to do with the police. Even though the personnel or the people subject matter of the inquiry are members of the police service, whatever was going on has nothing to do with the police in the sense of whoever is trying to reach some understanding of events that have happened. So the whole inquiry has got nothing to do with the police in that sense, notwithstanding the fact that it involved police officers. So that's point number 1. Point number 2, the timing. Typically, we do interdiction, or interdiction occurs where prior to the commencement of proceedings or investigations into some disciplinary matters, it is determined that the continuing presence of the person whose activities have given rise to the investigation, his continued presence in office may hamper or affect the investigation in some way, then the person may be required to stand aside for the period that the investigation is taking place, and not when the investigation has already started and midway. So that is the unusual part of it. In other words, if they really intended to interdict them, even as part of the investigation that was being conducted by Parliament, then it ought to have been done way before the investigation started. However, if you wait for the investigation to start and the people are midway and giving evidence and so forth and so on, then any conduct that seeks to give the public a different impression or picture of what is going on is an unnecessary interference in the work of Parliament or that particular inquiry that was being conducted. So that is what made the whole thing unusual and, in my view, unwarranted, having regard to the important part that even that inquiry itself had nothing to do with what was the police service inquiry under the Police Service Act or under the police service regulations. So that is why I thought what they did amounted to an interference with the important work of Parliament.
The question on the lips of many is why the sudden reversal? Well, for Superintendent George Asare and his lawyers, they suspect the decision to suspend the interdiction of the police officers is to shield the IGP from also being interdicted as he makes an appearance before Parliament's ad hoc committee. Listen.
It could be because the precedent they had set was that if you appear before the parliamentary inquiry as a police officer, you are going to be interdicted. So if the IGP is appearing before the committee, it means that he has set the roadmap that he would have to step aside. That is what it actually meant. So it's a way of he also circumventing his own rules. So because of that, let's suspend the interdict. Because I think they ought to have known right from day one. This tape was released over a month ago. I'm sure the police got copies of the tape. They never thought of interdicting them and conducting investigations. It's only when Parliament began its work, and even that nothing happened until names began, the witnesses began to mention some names, then they decided to interdict them. You understand? Because clearly it's an afterthought. The interdiction was an afterthought. Nobody is saying that the police service cannot institute their own disciplinary action against their staff. No, nobody's saying that. Our client is a law-abiding citizen. He's ready to conform with all the legal steps that have been provided by law. And we are already cooperating with Parliament. We've been invited to appear on Tuesday in camera, and we are ready to do that. If after the parliamentary inquiry, the police service also wants to also do their own investigations, I mean, it's fine.
Let's get on Zoom now. Dr. Adam Bonaa is a security analyst joining us now. A lot unfolding in the last 24 hours. We've seen some videos also circulating on social media. How does that inform the way forward into this whole scandal?
Well, good afternoon. Well, I think that if you remember, I think Superintendent Asari alleged that some contract had been given. And so this dawn or so, someone forwarded a video that is circulating on social media to me. And you see Superintendent, not Asari, but some persons who were in view of camera, and Bugri Nabu also in view of a camera. I believe one of them had a bargain device or a secret camera recording what was going on. And they seem to be interrogating Bugri Nabu, wanting to know whether the contract they are talking about. And you can see that Bugri Nabu actually said no, the contract was, I think largely, it was awarded to somebody else called Michael. I stand to be corrected, but it was awarded to somebody else called Michael. And he actually went to ask the IGP or something of a sort, whether, why, and if and the IGP, he thought the IGP would tell him that because the contract was awarded to Michael, IGP will ask the guy to give him money. But as he pressed, IGP ignored him. And secondly, they asked him whether he's taking money, anyone is paying him by the police, IGP, and he said no. He's not on anybody's, no one is paying him. No one has paid him anything. And so when you listen to the video that is circulating, it seems to me largely that is a vindication of what some of us already know, that most of these things that have been put out, most of these things, testimonies given, are packed of lies. But it is good that these things are coming out, because then when you come to swear an oath in Parliament and it comes out that you lied, you'll be cited for perjury, which is criminal under our criminal jurisprudence. And so as far as I'm concerned, there is opportunity to check and double check to know whether a contract, because he said he's saying that on authority, Bugri Nabu was given a contract. Anyone at all can go and check with, I'm sure, procurement. And we know that our procurement in this country is governed by law. So you can go and check to be able to tell if indeed Bugri Nabu was given a contract, or even if you want to say Bugri Nabu collects money, he's on a payroll, because I'm told they said he's on a payroll. If indeed he's on a payroll, we all know that government workers or payroll would mean that you are paid, and there should be evidence. We can't just throw information out there and say, oh, the person is collecting, has been paid, and you don't have any shred of evidence to suggest that this person is taking money from, what do you call it, ABCD. And so as far as I'm concerned, these are wild allegations that must be substantiated. The committee or whoever is investigating, this is very simple. They can always investigate, because these things, when you do them, they are documented. When you pay, you are paid. Someone is on your payroll. I run businesses, and my workers are paid monthly. So if my workers are paid monthly, and you want to come and check that, do I pay my workers? I pay my taxes. If you want to come and check if I pay you should have evidence that maybe I have an audited account. I do ABCD. I run business. I've been running businesses for probably the last 2.5 decades. And so if you come and you want records of people who contracted us, including even multimedia, who are one of our clients in the past, we would have evidence that we've dealt with all manner of organizations in this country, including international law, and these are a matter of record. And so when you hear people, put out wild allegations like this, you begin to wonder whether they know that these things you need to go behind the scene and be able to substantiate, provide evidence, to confirm or otherwise. And so as far as I'm concerned, these things should be checked. And I would ask that maybe it will be in the interest of the public, because they've come to say the IGP is not correct. They said the IGP has given a contract, and this was said publicly. They said the IGP had done what? He is giving money to Bugri Nabu. They said IGP, POMAB members don't come for meetings. You cannot go and meet IGP behind closed doors and ask him to answer to these questions when these allegations have been peddled or have been put out there. You want him to come and show you and ask him questions under oath to say what they are saying is true or what they are saying is not true. So I would go with those who are saying that. Give him the opportunity. If there are some of the things you want to ask him on the quiet because you have some tapes, that will be fine. But those things that have been put out there publicly, the full glare of the media, I will say give him the opportunity. Let him come and then, put him in the witness box to answer you whether he is correct or he's not correct. If he says I'm not correct, you ask him, why are you not correct as an IGP? If he says I am correct, you ask him, what makes you correct? What have you done since you became IGP? What are you doing? But if you ask me, I will tell you that change makers usually go through these things. Those who try to bring in hard change would go through these things. As far as I'm concerned, these are disgruntled people who wanted to break the eights by scheming to subvert the will of the people by saying, give me the position of IGP and I'll break the eight for you. And that is what they went out there to do, which we have it on tape. They can't deny it.
Is this not prejudicing perhaps the outcome of what it is that the ad hoc committee may decide?
I am speaking to the testimony given.
I get that point. I get the point. I'm just asking if that will not prejudice the outcome. Yes. Mm-hmm.
No, I'm not prejudicing. Mm-hmm. What I'm saying is that I am speaking to the testimony that was adduced in Parliament. They asked them questions and they agreed that yes. They asked them questions and they said, I'm this, I'm that, I'm this. You heard it. And so it is not it's not a reported speech. This is something that we all saw it on your network and other networks. And the videos are there. So as far as I'm concerned, I'm not concocting anything. All that I'm trying to say is that they have admitted that it is their voice. They met Bugri Nabu more than once. They have admitted to all this. So mine is that if this is not so bad, so to the extent that everything we do in this country, including even our security agencies, is politicized, so that people can decide to say, you are NDC, or you are MPP. And the moment they use that brush to paint you, you must be treated differently. So when you ask me, suspension, I heard the lawyer for one of them or for all of them speak. You see, I tend to agree with him in a way. When it comes to why it took so long for the interdiction to happen. If you ask me, because I spoke to your network when the leaked tape came out. I'm one of the first persons you would have spoken to, and I said it that this would need interdiction even before the Speaker of Parliament decided to form the committee. So I would agree to the fact that it should have happened. And at the moment, the sittings are going on. Obviously, every reasonable person reading in between the lines will tell you that. Why did you wait for this long? Because the Police Service Act has been, in service for a very long time. It's gone through various amendments. But the portions that talk about major crimes and major offenses and minor offenses and whatever A major offense is indulging yourself in political controversies. And we all have seen this. And so maybe the police, I don't know, for some reason, I'm not holding brief for them, should have acted swiftly so that whether the parliamentary probe takes place or not, these people would have by now been facing a service inquiry. If they now want to go to court or write to the police through their lawyers to say, we want to finish with the parliamentary probe before we come here, or they write to Parliament, to the committee, that we want to finish with the police inquiry before we come to you, they would have the opportunity to be heard. But I want to believe that we can have concurrent hearing or, process. But unfortunately, I would say that a police council had its meeting, and I am told reliably, I'm even seeing that on social media, then I ask questions and I'm told it is true, that the IGP himself recused himself from that particular sitting because his name had been mentioned, and to recuse himself before the council approved or the council agreed that interdict them. Then I'm told that when they had to suspend the interdiction, he also recused himself. As to whether it is true or it is not true, I've seen it on social media. I checked with reliable sources, and I'm told that that is what happened. In fact, I've checked with some police council members, and they said, well, that was true. And so I will mention their name. They said it was true. He was not at the meeting. But as for the reversal or suspension, I know there was no council meeting to do it because it happened yesterday. Cabinet sat yesterday. I don't know whether it was a cabinet decision. I don't want to go there, but mine is that, early days yet, things are thickening up, and we need to de-escalate. We need to de-escalate and, put these things in the right perspective, because we are going into 2024. We cannot create a situation of suspicion where we are going into 2024 and there's fear that if we are not careful, there's going to be massive rigging and massive cheating and massive electoral violence and what have you. So we need to, tread cautiously, if you ask me.
Dr. Bonaa, thank you for talking to us this afternoon.
Thank you.